It's now
They
mid-game.
already know I'm here.
The missions are becoming more challenging, and I'm dealing with stronger entities and in greater number. I need better gear and weapons to survive out in the radius. Does this sound like you? Don't worry. Mid-game is always a challenge to deal with, and money can be very tight at this stage. Fret not. I shall be your guide when it comes to making money at this stage in the game. Follow my step-by-step instructions as best you can, and we will find our riches together. Step 1. Preparation. Your target path will take you all around the zone, but we will spend most of our time in the factory region. There, we will deal with countless armored entities over various ranges. Your loadout is entirely up to you, but I'm focusing on going as light as possible, taking only the bare essentials. I will not even take body armor, as it will add to my weight. For weapon, I will take the AK-47U. Its lightweight and high stopping power makes it ideal for this mission. My entire kit is meant to be as light as possible, while still bringing everything I need to survive. Now is also a good time to look for any missions in the factory region itself. If you don't have one available to you, don't worry. You can do this without any active missions.
Main weapon, ammunition, meds, pistol, ammunition for pistol, 2 knives, 2 chocolates, 1 can of food, gas mask, headlamp, probes. That's all we take.
Step 2. Wait for the tide. You need to give yourself as much time as possible out in the zone, so sleep the night away and start just after the tide passes through. Have a breakfast and then get ready to hit the road. Step 3. Go to Belotki. The beginning of our quest for riches will take you into Belotki. Your first task is to clear out the village of all hostiles. Go easy on your ammo, of course, as this is only the first location. Step 4. Loot the village.
Okay.
Now that the village is clear, we can grab everything of value. Focus on grabbing UNPSC equipment and old guns. These will be in weapons cases and gearboxes, so just focus on looking for those. For the sake of time, I'm not going to bother looking into every drawer and cupboard in the house, but feel free to take a look if there's anything in there. Just remember that time and weight is your main enemy here, so only take what you can get money for or that you can use. Step 5. Village Anomaly. Next to the village is an anomaly cluster. Don't forget to look into it for an artifact. Artifacts are worth a lot and will often make you far more money than a gun will in the shop. Step 6. Drop off loot. Now that you have a few valuables collected, you need to drop them off to be retrieved later. The items will just add to your weight and slow you down in the long term, so leave them where the orange box often spawns in by the train cars. This location is close to Vano and can be easily accessed later on. Don't worry, your items will be safe. Step 7. Making your way to Probeta Factory. Now we make our way to the factory itself, but we will have to make a few stops along the way. The first stop is the train derailment. There's a good chance of finding a gearbox here, but I was not so lucky this time. Next, fight your way to the water tower. There's a possible weapons case at the top that you don't want to miss, but I was not so lucky here as well. If you, like me, wish to spend the night here, feel free to do so. Just be careful of your time. Finally, move to the rope path leading through the fog to the factory. Step 8. Quarry parking. Now in the factory region, your first goal is to clear out the parking lot and remove the rift. You could face any number of hostiles here, so be careful. Once safe, start looking around for loot and boxes. Behind one of the trucks in the corner of the parking lot, you can find another possible orange box. But again, I'm not so lucky. Step 9. Enter the quarry. After you've found everything of value we need from this location, we can move into the quarry and begin the first loop. We will divide the region into 2 halves with our break down the middle, leaving us with the west and east parts of the map. We will walk in a loop around each half, covering as much ground as possible before returning where we entered into the region. Our first loop pattern begins at the parking lot, then moves down the road into the canyon. But first, you better kill that sniper. Step 10. The cluster under the tower. Before we get too far down the road, be sure to check if there's any artifacts in this anomaly cluster just below the tower.
Little turd. Whoa!
Step 11. The floating cluster. Now make your way to the floating cluster at the far west side of the quarry. There's a lot of great artifacts to be found here. Just watch your step. Step 12. Turn around. Once you have all the artifacts, turn around. Don't go any further into the canyon on your current path. Just ahead is the outpost, crawling with mimics. You will burn more ammo than it's worth trying to breach the fort. There's a chance of a box in the rift you can break. But in my mind, the cost of the fight outweighs the profit of one weapon case. Instead, go back the way you came and go up the middle trench of the quarry and loop around to the broken truck, scanning for any weapons cases or equipment boxes along the way. Once you reach said truck, you will be in the sights of the mimics. But if there's a box here, you will have a far easier time reaching it than the one in the fort.
Oh, sick. Okay, it's waiting for me. Go. Yeah.
Step 13. Gas mask time. Run north to find the gas anomaly cluster. You can find more artifacts here, but mind the sniper in the tower above. He can't see you from this position, so you should be safe, but keep an eye on him anyway. Step 14. Deal with the sniper. Before we move along, you will want to remove that sniper. Once you start moving up the road, he will have a clear shot on you. There could also be a box up here, but no promises.
Nice try.
Step 15. Quarry equipment parking. Move your way to the parked equipment just up the cliffside. There you might find a box waiting for you,
Anything else?
but I'm not so fortunate today.
Don't make a noise. Don't need that.
Step 16. Up the cliff. Time to leave the quarry. Move up and over the cliffside where you will find yourself not far from the crater location. Follow the train tracks and navigate your way through the anomalies to the warehouses. This is where you may find a good number of hostiles, so be ready for a fight.
That's not good.
Are you safe now? No? How about now? You good? Well, once you are sure you have cleared out the area, have a good look around. The best place to find a weapons case here is in the back storage room.
Oh, a bunch of stuff in here. Oh, nice. Oh, yes. Whoa! There we go. Wasted a shot. Dang it.
Yeah, seriously, don't let your guard down here. Seriously, keep your guard up. They're everywhere.
That leads me to this.
After you've searched the rest of the building for any more valuables, move to the small building across the lot. You might find some valuables there. Step 17, the other warehouse. Just across the street is another warehouse. Don't miss it, as you can find boxes and valuables here. Step 18, the crater. Sneak around the way you came and check the ruins that overhang the crater for any boxes. I don't recommend coming here before clearing out the previous location, as there's less cover for a firefight. Step 19, hike back south. Now that we are at the far end of our first loop, we need to turn back to Vano and visit our final locations on the way back. Cut through the train garage with the floating train car, grabbing any valuables on the way, before moving on to the guard post that overlooks the quarry. There could be loot here, but no promises. Next, cut across the road to find a small building by the damaged gate. You will sometimes find a box here as well as some other valuables. Step 20, Shock Cluster. This is the part that I dread the most. To complete our loop, we need to gather the artifacts in the shock anomalies under the twisted power lines. If you wish to skip this part, that's okay, I don't blame you. But my personal favorite strategy is to have a grenade ready and use it to blow a gap in the shocks. This will make a safe hole for you to start from. From there, you will need to trust in your probes and just move slowly. If you can't find a way to the artifact and have no grenades left, don't worry about it. The risk of losing everything is not worth the few extra bucks for finding one artifact. Play the risks to your own discretion.
Nope, not worth the risk. Oh, that hurt.
Step 21. Back to Vano. Well done, Explorer. You finished the first loop. Time to go back through Balotki and home to Vano. Be sure to gather up anything you left behind along the way. Step 22. Unload and rearm. Back in Vano, you need to drop off everything you found. Reload your weapons and meds and get ready to move out again. Only take what you need, just as before. Step 23. New path to the factory. This time we need to go through Peromoy route to reach the factory. Run through the forest and ignore the artifact locations for now. Just get to the factory. Step 24. Fight. There's no way to get around this, but you will need to clear out the factory grounds the moment you get out of the fog. You need this location clear of hostiles before you can start your search. So fight like your paycheck depends on it.
Dang it, jammed. Holy crap!
No! You're gonna break it!
Side.
You really can't call your fight over until you've taken out the rift in this location. It's usually located in the office that overlooks the factory.
Come on.
Step 25. Loot the factory.
Nice.
After the office is secured, you should be fairly safe to gather any valuables here. But don't let your guard down. Start in the office and then work your way through the factory floor. Be sure to check the pit for a weapons case. Step 26. Begin Loop 2. After the factory has surrendered its valuables, work your way to the Pillar Forest and look for any loot among the ruins. The two pits beside the anomaly clusters are good spots to find a box if you're lucky. Step 27. Search the clusters in the ruin. The cluster in the ruined warehouse is your next target. It can be difficult to navigate, but will prove rewarding if you survive. Now look to the cluster right next door. There's more artifacts to be found in this cluster as well.
Oh, right there.
Step 28. Move south. Now head down the road between the two parts of the factory. Head past the safe house to where a small construction site is and look for any boxes in the hole. Step 29. South warehouses. After that, head into the warehouse grounds and continue your search for loot in the main building. There's usually a good chance of loot here, so comb over it carefully.
Nice.
Move through the structure to reach the large garage. You will only need to take a quick peek in here if there's a weapons case before moving on to the other buildings on the lot. Make your way over to the head office of the lot and give a quick look around for more boxes. If there's nothing there, walk over to the twin garages and gather any valuables found there. The last spot worth looking into here is a small building at the far end of the parking lot. Step 30. Back to the factory. Return to the factory grounds, looking into the small building by the gate and the large workshop. Then you sneak your way back into the factory by way of the storage room and look for any boxes and loot there. Finally, look into the material staging area. Look for one last weapons case hidden within the concrete. A gas mask may be required.
Oh, just in time.
This will complete the second loop. Take all your loot back with you and return to Peromoy. Step 31. Loot Peromoy. By now, you've spent a long time in the radius. The tide will soon be approaching and you may need to return to Vano as soon as you can. But if you have time, grab the artifacts from the cluster on the hill and from the glowing cluster just below. Step 32. Safe house. Climb the hill to the safe house and look for a box there before making your way down to the truck depot. Step 33. Truck depot. The truck depot will have a chance of a few boxes in the garages, as well as a rift. Claim them all if you can. Step 34. Crash site and office. Only if you have the time and the weight capacity for it, you can check the crash site for an orange box hiding in the shadow of a truck. From there, you can take control of the office building. Remove the rift and look for another weapons case on the second floor. If you are lucky, there could also be an equipment case on top of the tower. Step 35. The forest. Now make your way to the forest and walk toward the cliff on the far side of the woods. Look for another orange box hidden behind the trees before looking over the anomaly cluster under the tower for one more artifact. Step 36. Home time. At long last, climb the watchtower and take the gear from the UNPSC box before heading into the fog for Vano. Step 37. Sort out the plunder. You did it! You completed both loops and now have a good pile of loot. Time to sort it out. Decide on what you're going to keep for yourself and what you will sell. If you had any active missions on during your expedition, cash in those when you can. Be sure not to mix the gear you originally brought with you, as that stuff is not for sale. That's your stuff. After you have spent your time going over what you want to keep, put the keep pile away. Then start clearing any weapons you found, as a clean gun will sell for a much higher price than a dirty one.
No, that was too broke. Hoy vey, that is a lot of stuff.
Got your guns clean? Artifacts ready to go? Great. Time to sell. Step 38.
Elaborate.
Make the money. Let's start by getting my missions out of the way. I only had one mission this time, and it paid $450 for bringing back one neon artifact. Next was the empty ammo boxes I had after sorting out the ammo. While these don't sell for very much, I still got $50 for the lot of them. The UN PSC science equipment, as well as any grenades, flashlights, and other gear I did not need, sold for $1,990. The firearms and magazines I found came to $3,884. This included the ones that could not be repaired.
Oh boy, that's a lot of gun.
And the artifacts, including the shards and the rifts, came to a whopping $6,372.
That's a lot. That is a lot. That's everything. Last item.
Altogether,
go.
the grand
In the
profit
box
total
for
was
$12,296. Yes! Oh man, that is awesome.
Adding on the mission rewards makes today's total earnings to $12,746. I could have made even more if I completed the metastasis or the radius treasure missions, but that just goes to show you how much you can make for yourself in one tide cycle. Of course, your rewards will be different from mine, depending on what artifacts you find or what guns you bring back. But I am positive that if you follow this guide, your mid-game wallet will never run dry.